Hello, my name's Ken Black from Bayer Crop Science. I work in the environmental science part of the team, and that looks after the K-Obiol range of products for grain storage, preparation and grain protection once the harvest is done. So I'm going to talk you through some of the areas around grain storage and how important the preparation of your grain store is before harvest. So it's one of the areas that's often forgotten about in the rush to get harvest in, and it's a last minute job. Certainly not a job that anybody likes doing, but it really is critical in terms of ensuring you get a good sample of grain at the end of harvest once it's in store. So we've stepped inside the grain store now, and this is what's typical of a grain store on a lot of UK farms. Slatted floor with the air coming through, but what I'm here to tell you or point out to you is when you're doing the cleaning out process ahead of harvest, do it as early as you can. Do it well before the harvest starts so you get the chance to give it a thorough clean out. And that's often where people go wrong. They'll give it a sweep out and sweep the floor, but the missing areas such as these ledges that harbour dust, they harbour grain from last year, and that's where you'll find insects accumulating. The same for anything high up. The ledges up there, the conveyors, the handling equipment, they've all got the potential to harbour insects that are just waiting for the fresh harvest and the fresh grain to go in, and it's then that you'll start seeing problems as they emerge. So one of the most common questions I get asked ahead of harvest when people are preparing grain store is, where do they come from? Where do the insects come from? How do they get there in the first place? A lot of people think that the insects come in as harvest comes in, so they're coming in with the grain. But anything that's on the grain as it comes in from harvest, once it's in store, won't survive. They're not adapted to live in store. So the insects that are in here, your weevils, your sawtooths, those kinds of insects come here, or they arrive in store by transport, people coming in, they can be brought in by birds. There's all sorts of different ways that they can find their way into store. If they establish in a store and you don't do anything about it, you're going to have potential problems. So let's talk about prepping the grain store now. We've got it thoroughly cleaned out from top to bottom. All the dust and debris is out. It's been removed and disposed of or burnt. We're now going to talk about K-Obiol, which is the product from Bayer for grain store preparation. That should be applied as early as possible, up to 2 months ahead of harvest. That gives it the chance of the residuality of the product to work, to enable it to capture any adult stage insects passing over it, it controls them. So the earlier you can put it on ahead of harvest, the better. One of the things that you can also use in a grain store are these simple devices called insect monitoring traps. They're a sticky board which you place around the perimeter of the building. You place them up on ledges, just like that, every few meters. And what happens is, once you've treated, you're checking for insect activity. If there's none, there's a pretty good chance you've done a good job of controlling the insect.